6 months after the horrific events of Residue changed his life forever, Jack Bishop has moved to Sacramento, California, where he desperately looks for a way to find his missing father. He has improved his ability to see the psychic residue left behind by monsters and murder victims, but he has hit a dead end in his search. What he doesn't know is a psychic creature of immense power has been let loose on the city, and Jack will only have a couple days to stop it before it causes irreversible damage not only to his new home, but to the world itself. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Hemvar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Steve Diamond's Parasite. Parasite is a 2023 novel by Steve Diamond and book 2 in the Jack Bishop series. Book 1 being Residue, and I've previously reviewed that, was re-released since I read it, and the characters were aged up from high schoolers to college age. The story was really only slightly modified because of that, but essentially, this is a sequel to the book I read. Chapter 1 starts with Alex. She is hacking something nervously and contemplates candy bars. The latter bit because it's kind of related to the opinions of others influencing her own thoughts. She can't help this as she is a telepath, and I guess other people's opinions kind of muddy her own. She still works for Helix, but no longer as a temporary head of security at Calm Waters, the ending of Residue making this rather obvious. The cronies at Sacramento don't know of her ESP abilities, nor her relation to the CEO of the company, being the CEO's daughter. This is because she's essentially been demoted by her father for siding with Jack Bishop in the events of Residue. It's been 6 months, and Jack is now the sole focus of Project Sentinel, his grandfather having been one of the first subjects for the project. There were others, about a handful of others, but after book 1, just him now. The information on this top-secret project is actually what Alex is trying to acquire at the start. It quickly becomes about a disease made in a lab called Parasite. This seems similar to Dashner's Maze Runner books in a sense. This is much more deadly and terrifying than some normal disease, though, as it's a psychic disease. Jack comes back in Chapter 2. As before, his chapters are in first person, switching away from the third person of Alex's chapters. He still hopes to find his father, who disappeared at the start of book 1, and he is led to Sacramento by the mysterious person simply known as the Insider. This novel is a bit of a thriller. The young nature makes it feel somewhat like it's a young adult novel, but the characters are adults, and there are definitely horror elements. It gets weird at times and definitely bloody. I guess the label urban fantasy makes sense, but tied more to the horror roots, see something like Hiram Woolley by Richie Butler, or Our Lady of Darkness by Leiber, then much of that genre has turned into, right? It's not very horror oriented these days, but very much a Steve Diamond story. You could probably label it sci-fi. Maybe the best label would be paranormal thriller, but regardless, it's entertaining. There are references to popular media like Stephen King and Breaking Bad, Robert McGann, even Diamond's friend Larry Correia is name dropped in reference to Monster Hunter International. But there's more stuff along those lines as well. It is kind of a cool take on the biblical legend and zombies of a sort as well. But it's a great story overall. It's got thrills, chills, fear, dread, wonderful shock. It's quite a surprising novel, and the ending is a great setup for book 3, Catalyst. But to offset some of this stuff, it does have a bit of romance between Alex and Jack, which isn't surprising if you read book 1. It kind of flowered there. So anyways, overall, I very much enjoyed this. It's a nice and quick and easy read, and Diamond does a really good job of just keeping you entertained and making the pages turn.